Breaking news tonight in the war in Iran. Dramatic images coming in tonight from Iranian state TV. Just a short time ago, and look at this. Iran seizing multiple cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. In the images, you can see the armed masked Iranians boarding a ship, sweeping through the vessel with guns drawn. It comes just hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire. And as the world awaits any second round of talks now. Mary Bruce at the White House.
Tonight, the dramatic images broadcast on Iranian state TV, 24 hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire, Iran asserting its control over the Strait of Hormuz, seizing 2 cargo ships. An Iranian speedboat seen here racing towards one of the massive vessels, masked soldiers climbing up to the deck, brandishing long guns, going door to door. Tonight, the White House downplaying this clear act of defiance.
Does the president view that as a violation of the ceasefire?
No, because these were not U.S. ships. These were not Israeli ships. These were 2 international vessels.
Today, cargo ships and tankers clustered outside the Strait of Hormuz, unable to pass in the face of Iran's threats. An officer on one tanker tells us they won't move without safety guarantees. We've altered his voice to protect his identity.
If there is no insurance covering us loaded tankers to cross the strait, we will never cross the strait.
In Europe, dire warnings of the, quote, biggest energy crisis in history.
We are looking into some very difficult months or maybe even years. Even in a best case scenario, it's still bad.
Here at home, gas prices now averaging $4 a gallon, up more than $1 since the war began. On Capitol Hill, the Treasury Secretary wouldn't say when they'll go back down.
How fast will the price of gasoline come down?
Again, that is path dependent on when the war and the conflict end.
The president has extended the ceasefire with no deadline, today saying he's putting, quote, no time pressure on Iran to return to the bargaining table. And Iran insists nothing will happen until the U.S. lifts its own naval blockade of Iranian ports. The Iranian president declaring bad faith, siege, and threats are the main obstacles to genuine negotiation. How long should Americans be prepared for this war to go on?
Look, I think President Trump ultimately will dictate the timeline, and he will do so when he feels is in the best interest of the United States and the American people.
President Trump insists most of Iran's missiles and drones are gone. But tonight in Tehran, a show of force, the regime displaying some of the missiles in its arsenal. It comes amid news of a sobering message to Congress from the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Marine Lieutenant General James Adams telling lawmakers Iran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones that can threaten U.S. and partner forces throughout the region.
And again, David, we saw those alarming images from Iran tonight, those masked Iranian troops boarding those cargo ships. And it comes as there are still no plans for talks to try and end this war. David.
And Mary, while I have you here tonight, I know there's more breaking news coming out of the White House. An unexpected departure at the Pentagon tonight.
Yeah, David, we have just learned that the Navy Secretary John Phelan has just been fired. An administration official telling us he was, quote, asked to step down effective immediately. It comes just weeks after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ousted the Army Chief of Staff. David, no explanation was given for either departure.
All right, Mary Bruce on breaking developments tonight. Mary, thanks as always.